Good afternoon. First up, my hot water's back on. Turns out that the house down below me, which is shared utilities 2007 property, someone when they're working on it accidentally turned off the split valve to me. And there's a bunch of shit in front of it, so I didn't find it till today. So yeah, paid a plumber come out to go, and I have hot water again. But I have hot water, so I can wash my dishes and such. I can make delicious cups of coffee. All right, so now to what you guys are actually wanting to hear, which is my let's see, that's not too dark. I'm trying something a little different here with the lighting right now, so if it's bad, sorry. Yeah, hopefully it's not too bad. I'm doing this at 1080 as opposed to recording at 4K, just because the 4K codec it's like 16 gigabytes for a short video, so I thought I'd try something different today. So anyways, now back to what you guys are here for, the review of the Warnings record. So I'm not going to do a glowing kiss ass, this is the best thing ever review, because it doesn't really help anybody. Like, doesn't do anybody good to go, it's amazing, it's the best thing ever. I'd rather give a proper critique here. So a little backstory here on my credentials to give a proper critique, of which there's none, but I'll say anyways. I went to school in Seattle. I have a degree in audio production, so studio engineering, producing, all that kind of fun stuff. All that being said, I am not a record producer. I haven't recorded an album in probably 10 years. My experience now is in the live world, doing concerts and as a drum tech. So I have the knowledge, but I don't really apply it. So nobody needs to go the whole like, you're not a producer. Yeah, I know this. Like, I just want you to know like that I do have some knowledge of behind the scenes, how stuff works. I've been in a lot of studios, a lot of albums, as a tech, and so I understand like, you know, the creative process here. I also work for a band that's pretty famous for spending a lot of time in the studio and the creative process. So there you go. All right. First off, it's fantastic. I mean, we all know this. If you listen to the album, you know it's a great record. The band's great. But there's some room for improvement. And what I mean by this is that the record reminds me, and this is really going to date me a bit, of Silverchair's first album. Now, for those of you who are going back to the early 90s, like I do, you'll remember Silverchair kind of burst on the scene. They had a single called Frog Stomp, and they were a bunch of kids, much like the girls in The Warning, teenagers. They recorded the first record, I think they were probably 15, 16, probably 15 actually, and it was a good record. Got them some international fame, but it wasn't until a couple records in where I feel like they really kind of like found out who they were as artists. Second record was a lot more focused, a lot heavier. Third record got to be a lot more orchestration, and like they discovered the Beach Boys kind of thing. That's kind of what I hear when I listen to this record. Now, I didn't look the producer up, but I'm gonna gather he's probably a local Monterey record producer. That's just my speculation. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I don't want to. It's like I'm attacking the guy because I'm not. Like he made a record with 3 teenage girls that kicks ass, but there's a lot of stuff where I go, it's kind of green. To me, the drum should be snappier. The kick drum sounds really, really big, but not really pointed. I want to hear a little more crack out of stuff. Snare drum often feels a little less present than it should be. It's just a mixing thing, but that's just my personal taste. Bass sound sounds great though. The mix is okay with me. I kind of feel like, I almost feel like it's just not quite, it's like the rhythm section mix reminds me of like a rough mix. I want to hear a little more compression, a little like proper verb on a few things, and just get it dialed in. And that's kind of the way I feel a lot about a lot of records. It reminds me of like, okay, here's our rough mix. What do you guys think? What should we change? Cool. I know the girls didn't want to go the label route, which I totally respect that, because labels can kind of steal your soul and steal your money. But there is something to be said for having a producer, like a really good producer. And once again, I don't want to knock the guy because I don't know him at all. I don't know the quality of his work other than just this. I don't know what he's working with the studio. I just don't know. But I kind of feel like a lot more could have been brought out. As the record goes, things there are definitely more and more elements the more you listen. And I've only went one pass through, so I need to spend more time, like, critical listening with it. But there's things like I hear, to me, like the bigger bit should be bigger, the smaller bit should be smaller. When they're, hey, we're going to do a choir chorus, well, add more vocals, like 10 vocals. No, do 20, do 30, do 100. Like make it huge, make it big, so when it comes in, it knocks everybody over. A lot of the record to me sounds like it was written with the idea of playing it live too, and that's not a bad thing. Artists have to be able to play their album live. If you want to tour, but there's writing your material with the idea of, okay, how do we pull this off in a show, and not going just write the material, make the record, and then figure it out later. I actually saw an interview with Phil just recently where he was talking about the exact thing with Hysteria, where they figured the shit out afterwards. Like, it wasn't like, how do we do this live? Like, we'll figure that out later on, because there's so much guitar stuff going on. You listen to Leopard live, it doesn't look like it's missing anything. You've got Viv and Phil up there, and they're filling the sound out quite a bit, but you listen to records, and like, there's a lot of subtle shit going on. And that's kind of what I feel like that this record's missing a little bit. Now, yeah, Leopard didn't do that record until their fourth album, like, they had, 10 more years on his girlfriend, like, they were a lot farther in. And I don't expect that from somebody new. I don't expect somebody new to walk and going like, okay, I totally know how to orchestrate this. So it still sounds like I'm playing it by myself, but there's actually 18 guitar tracks going on and filling nooks and crannies and getting some textures. That's the thing with experience. As a producer walking and going, okay, I need to play this, and not going, not knowing why until you hear it. That's a fact. That's a Mutt Lange thing. It's hot in here. That being said, I see that coming with this band. I see them going, okay, like, record 2, record 3, finding either they get better at it and they really know how to pull this stuff off themselves, or they work with somebody who goes, I have another vision to add to your stuff. I can go, give me this, and I can pull it, massage together, and suddenly you have something that's much greater than the parts. And that's going to be something with experience. Now, once again, I'm not knocking this album. I like it. I'm going to be rocking out to it. It's going to be in my car. Like, this is my new rock record this year. I do love the record a lot. But I see a lot of stuff where things could be improved upon. And I hope they do it. I hope, like, I want to hear these girls in 10 years from now. I want to go, these women 10 years from now. I want to know, like, what they're doing at that point. I want to know what happens when they go, oh, you know what? Let's screw double tracking. Let's 87 tracking this thing. I want to hear this stuff when they really get and use the studio as a tool, because I can see it happening with them. They've got enough talent. Just as everybody knows, that's a lot of talent for that age, and they intrinsically have a lot of talent. But it's when they get older that I'm going to be able to really go, oh, this is amazing, because I see that happening just with age and experience. But yeah, I guess that's really kind of like what I wanted to get across here, was just that it's really a thing of little small bits. It's just that idea of like that. Really, I guess orchestration. Like, really, it's production art for me, and more than anything else. I think the songs are there. I really do think the songs are there. I think the performances are there. I want to hear more, but they're all very, very talented. It's just a matter of going, okay, how can we make this a little tighter? Because it's still a little, not loose time-wise, it's just kind of loose. I kind of feel like the mix should be a little more, a little more compact, just a little more muscular, just to really kind of, throw things across. And also with that, I want to hear a little more extremes and things. There's a... the drum sound, I think it could be better. I think they're, having seen her play live, she knows how to play. She knows how to hit a drum. I want to hear that snare drum the way I hear it live when she plays. I want to hear like that crack. I don't hear that crack on the record. The other thing too is I get, I don't know if you guys hear this or know this, but if anybody who's ever worked in business, like you can kind of listen to records and you can almost kind of know the room they were mixed in, or how it was mixed, or like, the speakers. Like, I listened to like U2, Joshua Tree. I know for a fact those were mixed in S10s. They sound like they're mixed in S10s. There's nothing below 50 hertz in that mix. There's no punch to the kick drum, no punch in the bass. because they're mixed on NS10s, which have no punch. They have no low end, and it sounds like it. To me, I it's been 10 years since I've had a studio, but I kind of almost feel like I can hear the speakers the guy was mixing on when he mixed this record, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because I kind of feel like it probably sounded really, really kick-ass in the moment back there, and then they got the record and like, man, it just doesn't quite have that it did in the studio. I'm like, well, you're probably mixing with a sub. You're mixing a 2.1 system. It was just, I feel like it's just that far from where it needs to be. Now, once again, I like the record. I'm not knocking the band. I think they're fantastic. I think they're going to have a long-ass career. I'm super happy that their parents are... It's freaking hot in here. Sorry. It's like 90 degrees in my house today. Anyways, I'm super happy that their parents are that behind them and allowing them to pursue this art form at this young of age, which is pretty awesome, especially with, the fact of school stuff and like they're allowed to do this. It's pretty damn cool. I just think that they need a little more time. Like if you think like the biggest first records in history, most of the artists were around for a long ass time for the record came out, and they were playing for a long ass time. Like nobody has that. Like, there's only a few artists I can think of who had a big first record at that age, and you're talking Silverchair, and that record's pretty, mid early '90s kind of raw tones. So it doesn't really take a lot to do that record. Lord, and I think for as good as her record is, there's still a fair amount of room for growth. I think I've only heard a little bit of her newest stuff, but I think that like that's an artist who you give her time, she'll come up with even greater things. I think the same with the Warning. They need more time to get better at. They need to spend more time in the studio, and they need like a really either their producer guy needs to really like, all right, do some homework. We're gonna step this stuff up, and give the girls like some records. This drum sound, we need the drum sound we need to get. Listen to the way the guy attacks snare drum. Hey, we need to compress this here to bring the drums a little more forefront, give them some more snap. Like really, you got a 3-piece. Make it sound huge. Make it sound mean. Make it sound aggressive. They're playing some heavy rock. It should just rip your face off. And when you're doing the vocal overdubs, if you're gonna go for a big overdub, then do it up. Hardware space is cheap. There's no track limitations anymore. If you want to have a choir, then spend a day in there or two overdubbing and just get that thing to sound huge. You can add 30 or 40 guitar tracks, but you can still play it live. You can add all those kind of things where it really makes things bigger and fuller and just gives that record like all encompassing. And when I say like more compact, I don't mean like smaller. I mean just like muscular and tight. That's what I think the album needs to go, or where it should be. Not saying it's not, great. It's a damn good record. I like it, and I'm going to listen to it again as I'm having my coffee. I probably should have done this with notes. That's probably the thing I should have done, is actually write this shit down. But I just want to hear more. That's all. And I think it's probably a good thing. I think it's good to listen to artists and go, what are they going to do with next? What's going to happen? What's record 2 going to do? I really hope that record happens soon. Like, I hope that, I hope they don't wait, 10 years for the record. I hope it's like, oh, hey, we're going back to the studio next year. Pump the record out. Like, make some more art. I want to see these girls on tour. Like, I want to go see a show again where I watch them in the front as opposed to the side of the stage. But it's not there yet. It's close, and to give you an example of like my level of, that, like, most records aren't there for me. Like, 99% of the crap out there, I'm like, I could be bothered to talk about, like, whatever. Like, I don't buy a ton of albums these days. Not a lot of album artists, current artists blow me away. So I'm not trying to like go, they're just teenagers. That's not the case. They're just new. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be young. It's not a bad thing to be new. It's not a bad thing to have one record out and go, all right, where do we go? For a first record, that's pretty goddamn good. I mean, it's really, I just want to go, what's happened to record 2? To use a Silverchair analogy, first record, I had it. It was like, I had all those records in the 90s. Second record too. Second record, I was like, okay, pretty heavy, a little more tight. Good, couple good hits on it. I think it was like Anthem for the Year 2000. I think it was on that record. It's like pretty ballsy. Third record. Ooh, hey, now we're talking here. They start getting more confident as artists. They started knowing what they were doing. They started walking. Their songwriting got broader, and more intricate, and their production got more intricate. That's what I want to see out of the Warning. And I think that's what's going to come. I think just you can't expect anybody at 12, 15, 17 to have that huge a vision, short of like Michael Jackson. I want to see what they're doing when they're in their 20s. I can't wait. I want to see what they are like. Look at Leopard. Like you got 2 records, pretty raw rock. Record 3, ooh, production jumped up a little bit. Not too bad. Couple big ass hits, songwrite bigger, and then they do record 4 and it's off the charts. I want to see record 3 out of these girls. I want to see like what they do when they start pulling, like really grabbing the reins and going in the studio and working with somebody who knows how to pull stuff out of them. That's the thing. And it purely, like, once again, I don't want to knock the producer because I wasn't there. I don't know what, like, I don't know who he's working with. I saw him live, but I don't know, like, truly how good they are in the studio. And I also don't know how comfortable, he was pulling things out of them or what he saw in the situation. But, or even if at this age they're capable of doing, this. But I think, record 2 and 3 is you're going to start seeing a lot more amazing stuff out of this band. And as their career goes, I think there's really nowhere that they have to stop. There's potential for whatever career they want to have. And I want to see that happen. I want to see them go as far as they want to go. And this is a great first step. Seriously fantastic first step. Great first record. It's just almost there. And most great bands, first record, like, I love Metallica growing up, Kill 'Em All, great record, but, Ride Lightning, I was like, ooh, that's kind of where they kind of figure out themselves a little bit, and then you hit, the Master Puppets, you're like, well, this band knows who the hell they are. It took them a record. It took them a record to go, all right, and by record 3, they were, the best band of metal. So, record 1, really, really good, fantastic, but room to improve. You haven't knocked out of the park yet, but you hit a good, a good double. To use a bad baseball analogy. So with that, to the fans who are either like my review or rip my head off, once again, I totally like the band. I think they're great. I have no knowledge of the producer, so I don't want to please don't think I'm knocking the guy. Was in the studio. I'm just saying for what I would want to hear. I also know what kind of time constraints we were under budget-wise to, do stuff. So it might have been like, hey, we got a day to do the drums. Got to get the drums done. And future being, they'll be better. So with that, I'm going to have most of my coffee because I've been sitting here for a couple minutes. I get this dumped in, uploaded because I have to go meet some friends I haven't seen for a while for dinner tonight. And I finished washing my dishes because I have hot water again. Yes. So awesome. So thank you all for stopping by. Please, give me your response. What do you guys think of my critique? And also your critiques. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. And let's keep this little fan thing going with these girls because they deserve it. I'm not gonna be talking about it every day because I'm not a fanboy by any means. And I work for other bands, so it'd just be a little weird. It'd probably just be a little weird for 39-year-old guy to be talking about teenagers all the time too. But let's when you have a chance to give them the props they deserve, please do because I think they deserve it. So yada yada yada. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you for stopping by, and see you tomorrow.